hit it while it's hot. The dude Mungus 3000.
What do you want from me?
No monkey.
Hey, dude and dudettes, say what up? It's your boy Dude Mungus, and we're back with another episode. This episode, I ask that you guys bear with me. I might sound a little nasally. I have a little something I'm dealing with. Had a sinus infection, so getting back at it. But again, I just ask that you guys bear with me a little bit if I sound a little funny. I got my bottle of water and I got my Kleenex. My Kleenex is actually over there, but I got my Kleenex ready to rock and roll just in case, because we know how this season goes. But anyway, man, look, we got the bat in the background. Y'all seen the new colorway. I appreciate y'all rocking with your boy on the new colorway. I was just like, yo, this is something I've always wanted to do because you guys, sheesh. If you've been paying attention, you should have been able to tell that yellow is my favorite color. I've been saying that literally for years. So yeah, we're back with another episode today. And man, what we found today, oh my gosh, guys, was the freaking perfect storm is what I'm calling this episode, because the issues we found with this bike during the 15,000 mile service literally blew my mind, because I've been wondering if something had been going on, but I had no idea it was the perfect storm of stuff going on. But right before we jump into that, I'm gonna just let you guys know that the Dude Mungus merch store is alive and well, and it is available. The link is always in the description. Go and get you guys some merch, hats, some hoodies, some shirts. Go on and show your boy some support. But anyway, so yeah, so we're about to jump into this. So we recently got the 15,000 mile service done on the bat, which is my 2022 Suzuki GSX-R 1000R. I normally always mess that up, but I finally got it right this time. During this 15,000 mile service, we found out that the bat had lost 10 wheel horsepower. Pause the video, time out. I lost 10 wheel horsepower. Like, holy crap. That is a lot of power. When I first got, and you guys have to, and this is for the guys that's been paying attention and really been following what we've been doing. And I have to go back and see if I can find those videos. I'm not going to go into detail in those videos, but we got to go back and find them videos. But when I first got all the work done, all the accessories, all the aftermarket parts, the exhaust, the air filter, velocity stack, when I got all of that stuff on the bike, I was making like 183 horsepower with this bike. About time we did the 15,000 mile service, I was making 174 wheel horsepower. I was down 10 horsepower. I know that's 9, but it was 9 and some change. I was down 10 horsepower, wheel horsepower with this thing. That's absolutely insane. Holy crap, the issues that we found. So I made a little list so I wouldn't miss anything. And the fact that I had to make a list was like freaking, it's crazy that I even had to make the list. So the biggest issue that we found, I guess it wasn't the biggest issue, it's a bunch of like little issues that added up to be something freaking huge. So one of the issues we had is my exhaust, and I'm not for sure if you guys knew about it. Some guys would honestly pick it out whenever I would put up a reel or short on YouTube when there wasn't like any music in the background. They'll be like, some people's like, oh man, that's that classic Jigsaw rattle. And then some people like, yo, that sounds like an exhaust leak, Mungus. Something going on. So yes, I did have an exhaust leak on my number 2 header. I'll put up some pictures here. Yeah, so we went to RPA Racecraft to get the issue actually repaired, because I didn't realize how hard it would be to find a shop that actually can weld and repair titanium. I had no idea. What had happened was, you know it's gonna be a good story when I start off that way. But what had happened was, I was leaving my driveway and I was late being somewhere, and I was like, yo, I gotta go. And I know I can't leave my driveway. I have a pretty big curb, you know, leaving my house. And I was like, I know I generally can't leave fast, so I normally go slow over this curb. I clear everything as long as I'm going slow. But this particular time I was not paying attention. I was just in a rush and left real fast. And it wasn't that I left fast, it's that I stopped. Like I was leaving fast and I was like, crap, I can't leave that fast. Jammed on the brakes and scratched my exhaust right into the curb. And I was like, oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. So when I lowered my bike, I lowered it so I can leave my house and come back without having to worry about anything funny happening. But this particular time, like I said, I was in a rush and just literally tried to catch myself from doing that. And I ended up causing that issue. So, and I knew I had that exhaust leak and I just rocked with it. I was like, it is what it is. It ain't that bad. I really didn't think that much of it. But since we were getting the 15,000 mile service, I was like, yo, I need to go ahead and get this exhaust leak taken care of. And now that rattling, jiggling, all that stuff, that extra stuff is gone. So I'm so happy that we got that gone because that was a huge issue that I was dealing with missing water. After the exhaust leak, something we did is I was like, yo, it's a 15,000 mile service. We got to change the spark plugs. Spark plugs. They weren't in bad shape, but they weren't in great shape either, which all of this, like I said, adds up to be the perfect storm. So normally the NGKs are OEM on this. I have a friend that I follow, Black Death Performance, Mike Miller. Y'all go check him out. He suggested trying a different type of spark plug. I was like, I bet, whatever. Let me give this a shot. Jump into this spark plug. And the spark plug, I mean, it's nothing like amazing or nothing that blows your mind, nothing crazy. But this spark plug made half a horsepower more than the OEM plugs. And I'm just like, I would have never known that. So I was like, you know what? I trust this guy. I'm willing to give it a shot. So me and my shop, as far as me and my shop goes, this is my first time hearing about this spark plug. This is my first time trying it. As well, this is my shop's first time trying it. So this is like a trial and error thing for us. So we're literally using the bat as a test to see what happens. So I'm really not for sure about the longevity or anything like that. So I can't recommend it on that aspect, but I am trying it out and I am testing it. And they ran it on the dyno, put in the NGK, put in the NGK spark plugs, ran them. They did what they did, put in these new spark plugs, ran them, and it literally made 0.5 horsepower more. Like that's nothing, but it's something, you know what I'm saying? So we'll daggone take it. So again, my spark plugs wasn't in bad shape, wasn't in great shape. It was definitely time for them to be changed. So the Suzuki recommends that you change the spark plugs every 7,500 miles. Because we have these new plugs in here, we'll probably check them a little sooner than that, just to kind of keep an eye on them and see how they're doing. Next thing was it was one of the things that's my fault. So since I've been riding motorcycles, this will make 3. I've only had 3 chains go bad on me. And each time, and like I said, I'm not paid by these people. I don't really promote them or anything like that. But the 3 times I've had a chain go bad, it's when I've stopped using Motul. For some reason, I just could not get a hold of Motul. So I just started using whatever. Next thing I know, I have kinks in my chain. I have kinks here, kinks there. And I honestly believe it's from, one, not using Motul, but the other part was my fault. I had my chain way too tight. There's a lot of advice that I follow, and there's a lot of notes that I take from people, whether it's in whatever division it's in. And this certain division of road racing was talking about running your chains kind of tight. So I was like, all right, cool, let me do it. I seen a huge benefit from running my chain tighter. Like my bike, if you this is what I found from running your chain tighter. If you run your chain tight, you will lose horsepower on the dyno, but on the street, your bike shifts so much smooth. It's like butter smooth when your chain is tight and it's not so much play. When the chain is looser, the bike isn't as crisp, but you're going to get that longevity out of the chain, and the bike for normal riding is going to be smoother. But when it comes down to racing, it's not going to be so quick. So I believe a combination of not using Motul and having my chain too tight destroyed my chain and got me kinks. And it's not that the advice I got was bad. It's just the advice doesn't necessarily apply to me because I ride so many miles. So I think if it's race bike and you just, I bring my bike out to race, you're going to be fine. But if you bring your bike out to race, then you want to take your bike to the track, and then you want to go ride the mountains, then you want to go to the grocery store and daily commute and get 15,000 miles, that's probably not a good idea. So now I'm running my chain at factory, factory spec as far as the free play and all that stuff goes, because I believe that's going to do me better. I actually got a new chain. a different brand chain, and I have my Motul. I ordered it. My Motul's here at the house now. So my chains will only see Motul, and they will be adjusted to spec. So again, just to keep count, we had we had an exhaust leak, we had the bad spark plugs, and we had a bad chain, right? Next thing we have up, again, let me get something to drink because my throat dries out so much faster that I'm having this sinus infection. Next thing we have, my clutch. This was also my issue. So for my experiences of having clutch, I had some free play, but I didn't have a lot of free play. So I had what I felt was an acceptable amount of free play, because y'all heard me say this before, when I'm actually out riding on motorcycles, like I like everything to feel tight. I don't want nothing loose. I want nothing wiggly. I want everything to feel tight. My Ducati was hydraulic driven, so it just stayed tight. And I was like, I love that tight feeling, so I want everything to be tight. So this again was my fault. I ran my clutch a little bit too tight, and I didn't necessarily burn up my clutch. Again, it's kind of like the spark plugs. It wasn't necessarily in a bad position, but it wasn't in a good position either. But it was closer to the not being, it was closer to the bad position versus the good position. So it wasn't necessarily slipping, but it wasn't grabbing like it should have been either. So it probably was just a little parasitic loss, but at the end of the day, it adds up to be a loss. So during my 15,000 mile service, I had to get a new clutch kit. It was recommended by the shop. It was like, yo, Mungus, you probably can run this, but it's showing wear and it ain't gonna last too much longer, so you need to go ahead and replace it. That's what the shop told me. So my clutch was bad, so I had to replace my clutch. And again, this was my fault just because I was running it too tight, and my tuner B, he's like, yo, when you run your clutch, he's like, just make sure you leave some free play. So I got my free play in there now. I'm good to go. We should not have this issue again. But after 15,000 miles, it's probably time to start looking at your clutch anyway, just for replacement. Next thing we had in there was something huge that my tuner actually noticed as we were dyno tuning the bike. The motor on my variable velocity stacks, they had the issue where, like, say if there's 10 runs, on like the 8th run, they would just open kind of slow. It wasn't sticking. It would just open slow. So the velocity stacks that I have are not meant for roll racing per se. They weren't designed for roll racing. They were designed to be on the track. But y'all know me, I think outside the box. I'm like, yo, let's take this that's designed for the track and make it work on the street. So every so often, not all the time, every so often, the velocity stack would just kind of open slow. And with it opening slow, it would kind of leave me starving for power. So I'll be in the throttle, I'm just like, where's it at? Like, where you at? And then it'll finally kick in. I'm like, all right, here we go. But you know, in road racing, if you waiting like where it's at, like you're lost. You've lost the race. You completely lost the race. So I reached out to Factory Superbike, both from Factory Superbike, and I was like, yo, I believe I'm having an issue. What can we do about it? He ended up sending me out a new motor. So we got that motor replaced in the variable velocity stacks, and that thing is running. It's doing what it's supposed to daggum do. Again, nothing huge, but enough to add up with the other things to equal up to 10 horsepower, guys. 10 horsepower, which is freaking huge, bro. So just keeping track of everything we got done. The 15,000 mile server, we got the spark plugs, we got the chain that we got replaced, the clutch got replaced, the motor and the variable velocity stacks got changed, and we fixed the exhaust leak. That is 5 things, dude. 5 minor issues that added up to be something crazy, something huge, man. So when I tell you guys 2024 is going to be different, it is going to be different because also, I don't know if you guys can tell. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. Well, you probably can't pay attention with these gloves in my pocket. But I don't know if you guys can be paying attention. My belly's been slimming down a little bit. So I started this year off at 195 pounds. 195 pounds with gym shorts on. Now, I weigh in at 100 and I bounce between 174 and 178 pounds. So I've essentially lost 20 pounds of rider weight, just working on myself. I've lost 20 pounds of weight. Now, I gained that 20 pounds right back when I put on my motorcycle gear and all that, But that means I haven't weighed myself since I lost weight, but I should be under 200 now when I have on all my gear. I was above 200. I should be under 200 now, which plays a huge part in the road racing scene. You guys that think weight don't matter, man, y'all, woo, I got another episode on that coming out too, but weight plays a huge part. So I decided, now I didn't lose weight for road racing. I just lost weight because I wanted to be healthier. And turns out I dropped 20 pounds. I got my jacket from 1X USA, so which is not as heavy as what my A-Star jacket was, and it's a lot slimmer. So your boy is just more aerodynamic all the way around. And something else we did with this bike that contributed to getting my power back. Oh my goodness, I needed my power back. Something else we did, we went with a different tuning software. So you guys have been paying attention. When I first got everything done, I was on FlashTune. So we went with the new tuning software, which gives us some more adjustability, and it is proving to be very valuable, guys. And again, like 10 horsepower on a car, 10 horsepower in a car really ain't that much, but 10 horsepower on a bike is something freaking huge. Like, I was making less power, like, and this is for you guys that seriously has been paying attention. When the bike was completely stock, it was 100% stock. I think from the factory, it came with the slip-on. Some people say that's a modification, some people say it's not. Whatever. The bike was 100% stock. We did an ECU flash, right? The bike made 100% stock, nothing done. The bike made, I think it was like 168 horsepower to the wheel with nothing done. We did the ECU flash. The bike made 176 horsepower. My bike was with the velocity stacks, the full exhaust, the wheels, the everything. My bike with everything on it, right? Air filter, everything was making less power than what the bike made completely stock with an ECU flash. Like, that's crazy. So the bat was hurt most of last year, and it wasn't like it was an issue, but it wasn't like an alarming issue because the bike still performed, because the way my shop Tailor-Made has this bike set up, it is so freaking efficient. So even with being underpowered, making 176 horsepower, making 174 horsepower, the bike still would reach 200 miles an hour. It's just that daggum efficient. And it wasn't that alarming because the bike made 183. It did that for a minute, and then a couple months later, it made 181. We're just like, hey, maybe it's the air today, maybe it's the humidity. And then, a few months later, the bike made 179. Whatever. And then until it trickled down, it was like, yeah, something has to be going on, because that's almost 10 horsepower down. So again, when we dove into the 15,000 mile service, we found all of these issues. Oh my God, I almost forgot. My valves were out of spec. Oh my, dude, I don't know how I forgot that. They were nothing like crazy out of spec, but they were definitely too tight. It was no bueno. I want to say, and y'all got to forgive me because I don't know the specs without it sitting right in front of me, but this is 0.6, 0.7, something like that. It was out of spec, 71000, whatever it's called. It was that far out of spec. But again, nothing crazy, but enough to cause some damage. I totally forgot about my valves being out of spec. So, dude, the bat literally has a look refresh, and now the bat is actually running healthy now. And I'm super excited to actually try it out, because I didn't realize I was down horsepower like that. And like I said, 10 horsepower in a car ain't that massive, but 10 horsepower on a bike is massive, bro. Massive, dude. So 2024 is going to be different. We already went out and did some testing, and the bat performed well. Even with that 10 horsepower that I gained back, like, the bike still held it. Like, I didn't think it was going to hold it. The bike still held the power down to the ground. So I'm telling you guys, it was at 174. I'm back in the 180s, bro. You know what I'm saying? I got my 10 horsepower back. So, bro, y'all are in trouble this year. And y'all already know the usual suspects who I test against. We got to do some more testing. We got to get out there and make it do what it do. But I'm excited this year to actually have the bat at full power. And since it's at full power, we're calling this new setup, it is still the bat, but we're calling this new setup the equalizer, because I have my power back. I am stock wheelbase, I have my rotors, and I got my power back. we're gonna make another episode diving into some of these other things and weight and all this stuff like that. But I just want to let you guys know what we found with the 15,000 mile service. I'm actually excited to see what a healthy bat looks like. I hope you guys are excited to see what a healthy bat looks like. And you guys got to see when I show you this footage from, which will be in the next episode because I don't want to hold you guys too long. When I show you this footage of how this bike is running, that is running healthy, it's pretty daggum dope. I can't even lie. Like, it did better than I even thought it was going to do. That's all I got for you guys. I just wanted to explain to you guys what the perfect storm was. So you guys, stay up on your maintenance, man. Check all this little stuff. It might not be nothing major, but check this stuff out so it will keep you on the up and up. But yeah, I think that's all. Yeah, that's all I got for you guys. The next episode, which will be Tuesday, which will be the 2nd, we will announce the giveaway winners for the grips, the motorcycle grips. I figured let's start the new year off with a bang and let's get those giveaways going on. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys. I appreciate y'all rocking with your boy. You know who it is. It's your boy, Humongous.
Thank you for watching, dude. Namaki.